Hi, my name's Phil Craig. I'm the leader of the Referendum Party, and I'm here today to deliver a personal message to Premier Alan Winde. Alan, stop complaining about problems that you could fix, but you've chosen not to. It's really frustrating to listen to you complaining about how our budget's been cut in the Western Cape, how conditional grants have been cut in the Western Cape, how national bargaining has forced an unaffordable wage solution onto the Western Cape, which is going to cause us problems, how we're going to be forced to implement national health insurance even though we don't want it and we voted against it in the National Council of Provinces, how we need to have control of police in the Western Cape but we're being denied it by the national government. We agree with you on every one of these issues, but you can fix it and you're choosing not to. Cape independence would solve every single one of these issues and deliver power to the Western Cape people so that we can fix these problems and so that we're not forced to continually implement decisions that we disagree with that are implemented by an ANC national government that we didn't vote for. And I want today to ask you to talk to you about four particular issues. Number one, I want you to admit the reality of our situation. We are not going to get the devolution of powers. In 2024, the multi-party coalition is not going to take over control of the national government. After 2024, we're still going to have an ANC-led government, which is still going to be intent on centralising power at all costs, and all of these things that you're fighting against will continue to be foisted onto the Western Cape against its will. Secondly, we want you to embrace democracy. You know as well as we do, 69% of people of the Western Cape support a referendum being called on Cape independence. And amongst DA voters, that rises to 79%. The only reason we're not having a referendum and we're stuck with these problems is because you personally refuse to call that referendum. And why? You actually are lying to the people of the Western Cape. You're blaming the lack of legal authority to call a bill. You're saying there's no legislation, there's no enabling legislation, but that simply isn't true. There's a Referendums Act. And if you want to go and read the legal argument made by Martin van Staden in the Daily Friend, I suggest you do, which sets out the legal basis of why you can and should call a referendum on Cape independence. Your argument against it is that you have a legal opinion saying that you can't. And that's a half-truth because you have a second legal opinion that says you can. So you should choose the one that says you can so we can fix the problems. And why do I say that? Well, what happened afterwards when your bill, the Western Cape Provincial Powers Bill, came before Parliament and Parliament had two legal opinions saying your bill was unconstitutional? You ignored them both and your party simply said they're only legal opinions, we don't have to follow them, they're just legal opinions. So why is it that you can avoid those legal opinions when it's the bill that you want? But when it comes to what the Western Cape people want, which is democracy and getting ourselves to be able to control our own destiny, suddenly you want to abide by this legal opinion. That's hypocrisy of the highest order and you're being dishonest with the people of the Western Cape. You need to choose a team. You are the person who's been appointed by the Constitution to act in the best interests of the Western Cape people. You are our leader in the Western Cape. You should be acting in our best interests. And when asked why are you not calling this referendum, why don't you support Cape independence, which would deliver a better future for the people of the Western Cape, you say, well, I'm South African first. And I'm going to repeat something we've said before. Alan, if you want to put the South African people first, then resign as the Premier of the Western Cape and go and stand in the South African Parliament, which is the constitutional body that looks after the best interests of the South African people. No shame in that. But if you want to stand as the Premier of the Western Cape, you're not South African first. You're there for us. You're supposed to deliver the best outcome for us. So then stop whining, stop moaning, stop hiding behind legal opinions and have the courage, have the balls to call a referendum on Cape independence, which you're allowed to do, and ask the Western Cape people, do we want to continue putting up with this nonsense of an ANC government we despise or not? Because you know as well as I do that if you call that referendum, the people of the Western Cape are going to vote to leave and we're going to have a better future. And why on earth you are standing in the way of a better future for the Western Cape people, I do not know. So Alan, please find the courage or at least the decency to consult the Western Cape people and give us the choice to decide how our future is going to look instead of deciding for us. Thank you.